right, we are in business with the microphone. I'm very excited. Today, I just want to discuss my neurodivergence and spirituality and how they have come together as one. I started my true spiritual awakening journey. I know I've always been on this journey. I always had some sort of awareness that I was different and meant for something else than the typical human experience here on Earth. But about a year ago, I had fully hit rock bottom. I quit my job because I just was, now that I know I have an awareness that I was going through autistic burnout. And I had been dating someone who I should not have been dating and fell delusionally, madly in love with them, even though for them it was more like a manipulative game. And I had been sent information about like twin flame, so I had this delusion that I was in a twin flame union, a union, and waiting for a reunion because we got separated. But I needed to go through that delusion to give myself some kind of positive hope because I had been at that rock bottom. And then as I have been learning to meditate and being on this journey, I eventually figured out that I am neurodivergent. I have ADHD. And through that, I realized that I was a high masking person. So everything that I have done in my life was pretty much to appease others and to appear normal. So I went through a little bit of an identity crisis for most of the summer. And I did become more autistic, I guess you could say. I knew I had ADHD for about a year, so I already had my brain like all over the place, very unorganized, unable to think straight for quite a while. And it just got progressively worse as I went through adulthood. So this was like the worst of the worst last year. And then when I found out I was autistic, I did have a few months where I had an autistic shutdown throughout my burnout. And then I also was just trying to unmask and be the true me. And now that the dust has settled, it's kind of weird that I almost don't feel as autistic. It's like I only had that real moment of knowing who I was and unmasking for a few months. And now it's like, I know I stim, I know I don't look people in the eye, but it's all just to a lesser degree, and I'm not masking either. So it's like this weird, it's just like I've been able to work through some of my issues. Like I truly believe that some of my neurodivergent things that I have always done all my life that I just didn't really realize I was doing, or I was masking them, have just been easier to heal because I've been meditating and learning to meditate through classes and training of my clairvoyance, which is basically like your psychic abilities. It's just very interesting because when I first realized I was ADHD, I kind of go into this thing where I become overconsumed with stuff. I'm going to say that's a confirmation burp. Maybe this is resonating with someone else, but I become overconsumed with the newest thing that I have figured out about myself, and it kind of becomes my everything. And I dive in, and that's very like autistic of me to like do a lot of research and almost have it be like my special interest. So I really dove deep for quite a few months. And now I just don't feel that same, I don't feel like it is something that is going to hinder me. I'm slowly learning the tools to make my life easier and better. And I recently saw a video here on YouTube where the person posted that it's really difficult for people who are neurodivergent to learn how to meditate, just with issues of sitting still and clearing your mind. When I used to hear about meditation, and I was in the thick of my ADHD when it was just at its all-time worst. My symptoms were just unmanageable. I couldn't imagine sitting in silence with my eyes closed and clearing my thoughts. So I totally get it. I do. But since I've learned to meditate and I've sat through it and I've gone through the steps, and I still struggle. I still have, mostly I think about food. If I don't eat before, I'm like, what should I eat? And I have to clear that away. But I think as I've been healing my traumas from childhood, from life, and nurturing my inner child, makes all of my neurodivergent symptoms less, and then I am able to continually grow and continue learning more tools within the meditation realm. I'm not really sure what advice I can give, because for me, I don't know if it's because I have gone my whole life as a high masking autistic person, but I just have learned to suppress, through all this masking, suppress my needs and needing accommodations and expressing those accommodations that I need, to the point where I'm very adaptable and can pretty much get through anything, even if it's super uncomfortable for me. And I'm taking that as a superpower, because even though it has created me to go through autistic burnout multiple times in my life and just completely lose myself, I have this ability to turn it on and off now. And if I need to just power through something and just get through something, I can. When I first started meditating, I had been living in an apartment by myself, and I had just gotten surgery. I was healing, and this was the first time in years that I had to not work. I quit my job, I had my surgery, and I just took about a solid month, 2 months, to pretty much do nothing but rest. And wow, yeah, I guess I never really realized the magnitude of that rest. That rest for me was isolation, but it was very necessary, because I was so, wow, this is making me emotional. I am kind of surprised by this, because I have talked about this a lot. I also hope that you guys are enjoying my bedhead chic hair, because I have not really done anything to it except fluff it further. So, okay, yeah, so I quit my job. I had my surgery, and I just would lay in bed and listen to meditations on YouTube and just listen to them and try to clear my thoughts as much as I could, just to sit in the stillness, to sit in the silence. I wasn't really receiving any channeled messages at this time. I was receiving them, but I didn't really know what it was. This was very beginning phases of me communicating with the universe. So I just kind of thought that they were my own thoughts, and I was, working through things and figuring out what I want to do next and all of that. So I was healing, and then I ended up moving back home, and I did spend a few more months just kind of trying to be living with other people. That makes it different and more difficult, because you have to weigh in them, especially with being a high masking autistic person and not knowing it. At the time, I was just diving right back into my typical people pleasing, masking tendencies. But I was still getting enough time by myself, and I was watching TV shows that resonated. I think it's called 6 Feet Under. It's a family who owns a funeral home, and the one daughter, everyone's getting better and healing and growing and evolving, but the one daughter is clairvoyant, and her name was Claire, so I thought that was interesting. And she would receive images and messages and stuff throughout the show, and it just actively progressed, and I really resonated with that. So I was just kind of diving in, doing research, kind of seeing what was going on. And before I moved, I had gone online looking for a clairvoyant meditation space. Another confirmation burp. The man I was dating, we had discussed it actually. I was at a music festival with him, and he had asked me if I'm clairvoyant. So he knew that, and I didn't really know exactly what that meant at the time either. But I just said yes because I am, and I just knew, even though I didn't really know what the exact criteria of being such a thing was. So I signed up for something. I put in some kind of inquiry online. And after my 30th birthday, a few days later, I received a call from the teacher, the owner of the center. She told me that the class was a certain amount of money. I could bring cash if I have cash, and I had cash because we had done some garage sales and stuff, so I just so happened to have the cash. And to show up on a Tuesday night and go to this class. And I was like, okay. And I just said, yeah, I'll be there. And I had really no idea what I was signing up for. I had taught myself to meditate while laying down, just to get to, I think I needed to get to an energetic point where I could sit still. Just having that time to myself to sit still, I think just brought me to a level that allowed me to be able to sit through meditation classes. Along with the fact that I wanted to please teachers always, throughout my schooling and just in general, any class I took, I just wanted them to see me as a good student. It was some kind of trauma response from childhood, but I just wanted to be seen as worthy and deserving of their time and attention, and to know that I was digesting what they were teaching. I did have kind of a teacher's pet type of complex, and I did in this class as well, especially in the beginning because I was still in that same energy from, not fully healing my childhood wounds and inner child stuff. So I showed up to this class, and I think it was 6 weeks. And then there was a level 2 where you would sign up to commit to a year. And I just sat there and let her guide me through meditations. There were plenty of things that I didn't show, that I didn't really know that I stimmed. I didn't really know. I have never understood that I was autistic my whole life. I never crossed my mind. No one ever brought it up to me. It's like the universe was hiding this information from me for a reason, because I think if I would have found out at any other time in my life, it would have really affected me more in a negative way and changed the whole trajectory of how I function, if that makes sense. I think I needed to be in this masking, people-pleasing mode for this long of time, and I believe that it got revealed to me this past summer on purpose, because I was at a level where I could handle it and not let it completely take over my life and be my only identity, if that makes sense. I love being neurodivergent. I think it's one of the greatest things a person can be, because we just have different brains, and I am so thankful for that, because honestly, being neurotypical sounds boring, and I'm just kind of shocked and surprised that I spent so much time trying to be them. Anyway, so I took this first class, went through all of it. I've been taking it since January, and I graduate, I think, in February of next year, so I'm pretty close to the end here. And I keep being hard on myself about this stuff. Oh, you're not doing enough. Oh, you could be going to school for something else. Or you could be... But I am actively, basically doing a training. It's almost like getting a certificate in something. And I truly believe that the more training I get and the closer I get to healing myself and letting go of all of these layers and masks, that I will have what I need revealed to me by the universe. Because you can't pursue your greater purpose without having a certain level of healing. You can take steps and actions towards it. You can practice mindfulness. You can meditate. You can... keep burping. You can, do your hobbies, have fun. The universe wants you to have fun on this journey, even if it's so hard to have fun. It's so hard to turn off that analyzer in your brain and think to yourself that everything's happening as it should. But I've just learned to do all of this somehow. Somehow it has worked out for me. And I do want to help other neurodivergent people learn to meditate, because I think if more of us learn, it's going to change everything. Because if we all heal and we're not in this state of survival, the world is just going to completely shift. If we're all thriving, going from surviving to thriving, think about how many neurodivergent people are out there who are afraid to be who they really are, or don't exactly know what kind of job they could do, or what kind of business they could own, or what kind of life they could live, because of all the stories and traumas and things that they have been conditioned to believe about themselves their whole lives. So I truly believe that if we all learn how to meditate, it's pretty much our world. Our brains and our creativity, and allowing that flow to come in. Like, my creativity was completely blocked. I could not do anything that I enjoyed, and I definitely was in burnout, and then a nice sprinkling of depression as well. I had been on 7 different medications. None of it was helping. So I just kind of went cold turkey, which I know is not for everybody, but that's just kind of what I was called to do. I stopped taking birth control a few years ago, and that completely changed my life as well, because I had to figure out how to deal with these hormones, this imbalance in my body, and it's still affecting me today. But I wasn't in the space to take pharmaceutical medicine, so I just stopped, and that's around the same time I started meditating. I am offering meditation like sessions and classes to kind of start learning the process of how to meditate, and I really want to focus on neurodivergent people, because like I said, I just think that it's so important to just seeing how it has impacted my life and has created such a drastic change in me. I am a completely different person than I was a year ago. Completely. And I think that everyone can get to this type of space with the right tools, and we just weren't taught these tools. So I am offering sessions. I do have my website linked below. I think that this is just part of my story that I want to share, and I'm going to make some more videos like this, but just feeling very hopeful, and I'm going with the flow, and I'm trusting the process. And that's really the message that I have for everyone today. And there is other ways to meditate and ground yourself. Like, I'm not saying sitting in a chair in silence for hours a day. Not that I do that, but some people do. Is the answer. Like, you can be in nature, you can just put your feet in the ground, you can go on a walk, listen to music, dance, do an activity you love. Any of those things are ways to ground yourself. But I think the most profound change in yourself comes from meditation. And I just want to help change the story of this, because it was something I was always afraid of doing, and I knew that I would one day meditate throughout my whole life. It just resonated. I just didn't know how I would or when. And the universe just kind of pushed me into it. It was like now or never type of thing. So I hope this message, confirmation burp, I hope this message resonates with someone. If you're interested in signing up for a session with me, like I said, it's down below. And I really hope you all have a wonderful and fantabulous day. And I hope that my story reaches the people who it needs to reach. All right, thank you so much.